And autocross is a great way to get involved in actual competition, even with your daily driven car. But how do you get ready for your first autocross? Or how do you get ready for your 500th autocross? I'm going to show you a few tips of things to look for before you take your car out to that competition event. So before you even start packing your gear, we're going to start our prep by washing the car. Sounds simple, it sounds indulgent, but it's a great way to check out the overall condition of your car, especially when it comes to stuff like air intakes. This Toyota MR2 has air intakes in the front, on the sides. There could be debris in there, there could be a plastic bag in there. Washing the car gives you a very good indication of anything with the car that could be a problem later. Okay, so once we've assessed the overall condition of the car, we're going to start looking at different mechanical systems. First place we're going to start is under the hood, or in the case of our mid-engine MR2, under the engine cover, if you will. So when you get to the autocross, you're going to have to go through a tech inspection by an SCCA tech inspector. For autocross, it's pretty simple and most of it's safety oriented. First thing they're going to look for in tech inspection is a properly working throttle return spring. Now, if you've got a modern car that's drive-by-wire, this is going to be a little bit different to inspect and might not actually be the subject of a physical inspection. Other thing you want to look for is just general fluid leaks. Fluid leaks will shut down an event, and nobody wants to be the guy that shuts down the event and forces a cleanup crew to come out. You also want to check the condition of all of your normal maintenance fluids. Your coolant level, make sure that's up to spec. Make sure your engine oil is up to spec. So we'll continue under the actual hood of the car. Now, a lot of you keep your engine up here. I just keep stuff because this is an MR2, but there's some important stuff up here that you're going to want to make sure works and is in proper condition before you go to the autocross. First one is the battery. Now, the tech inspector at the event is going to make sure that that battery is tied down very securely. So grab the battery, give it a shake, make sure your tie down is properly fastened, everything torqued to spec. Other thing you want to check when you're up here is the condition of the brake system. Now, a couple ways you can do this. First thing you want to do is just simply take the cap off the brake reservoir and do a little visual inspection. And the first thing we notice about this car is the brake fluid is about the color of RC Cola there. So that is indicating that that brake fluid is maybe not up to the level that we want to use at the autocross. Other thing we can do is give it a little bit of a moisture test with a device like this. These are about 10 bucks. Just shows you how much moisture content is in that brake fluid. And I know this brake fluid has not been changed for quite a while. It's way overdue. So I have a feeling that this car that's lived in Florida for a long time is going to be over where it should be. Oh, look at that. We are in the red there. That is no surprise. So with a moisture content that high, that is actually approaching a dangerous level. What happens is when your brake system tries to actuate and there's water in your brake fluid, that water can boil because of the extreme heat that your brake system is going to generate. That boiling produces air bubbles. Those air bubbles are compressible, and your brake system needs to be completely incompressible to work properly. So having brake fluid that's up to the task is imperative. So before this car goes out on an autocross course, we're going to need to completely flush and replace this brake fluid with something a little drier than what's in there right now. So we have some mechanical inspection and some safety inspection to do over here on the driver's side of the car. There's a lot of stuff over here that you use to control the car. All of it's very important and needs to be safe. You want to check your pedal covers. Do you have any loose pedal covers? Do you have floor mats in the car? Floor mats slide around. They can get under the throttle. They can get over the throttle. Get those floor mats out of there. The tech inspector is going to check for those floor mats. Check your seat bolts, especially if you have an older car. You would be shocked to learn how often seat bolts loosen up. Go around, give those a quick nut and bolt. Is there anything under any of the poles for the trunk, for the gas lid? Is there any pieces of fabric that are caught under those? So make sure all that stuff is safe. Make sure anything you can possibly touch while your elbows are flying around, while your feet are flying around, is safe and is not moving unless you want it to move. So once you're on site at the event, and maybe even before then, you want to do a sweep of the inside of the car, make sure there's no loose objects. This is something the tech inspectors will also look at, and it's something that's A, very distracting, and B, could possibly be dangerous while you're in the car at an autocross. Easiest thing to do is take a little Tupperware or plastic container with you and just throw everything in there. Go through your glove box, go through your center console, done. Get that interior clean. Any loose objects, any chains in your ashtray. You want to listen to that while you're trying to win a championship? No, you don't. Boom, in the box, done. Clean it out, get it quiet, get it a good place to go about the business of high performance driving. So the next question is, what do you want to take with you to the autocross? Well, obviously you're going to be spending the better part of the day outside in the sun, so you're going to want to take all of the things that you would normally take to do an event like that. The thing that you will absolutely need though is a helmet. Now, not every helmet that you autocross with needs to be a modern top-of-the-line helmet like this Stilo ST5, although that is a fantastic choice if you have the means. But if you're going to autocross with the Sports Car Club of America, you're going to have some type of Snell rated helmet. Now, that could be a Snell SA or special application helmet, which is legal for road racing, time trials, autocross, track days, anything you want to do with it. Or if you're just going to autocross, it can be a Snell M rated helmet, which is a motorcycle rated helmet. You can also legally autocross with one of those as well. Those helmets will have a Snell date code on them. Anything currently, as we record this in 2020, anything back to a Snell 2005 rating is going to be legal. And typically for autocross, the last 4 or 5 Snell ratings are going to be legal for your autocross use, and Snell ratings get updated every 5 years. So the hardest part of this entire endeavor is going to be, I want you to get the car up in the air and get each corner off the car at least a few times a season. Maybe it doesn't need to be every single event, but at least a few times a season, and certainly before your first event, I want you to get your wheels off, and I want you to do a good visual inspection of your wheels and tires and of the stuff inside that wheel arch. For your wheels and tires, this is a brand new set of Koenig wheels and Falken RT660s. So we know they're in pretty good shape, but there's still some visual inspections that we can do. First off, we can check for any obvious cracks on the surface of the wheel. We can check for any missing wheel weights inside the wheel. That's not necessarily a game ender, but it's certainly something that you want to be aware of. Cracks certainly are a game ender. Missing wheel weight, not necessarily, but it's something you might want to take back to your wheel and tire shop and have it rebalanced. When it comes to inspecting the tire, you want to look for any foreign bodies in the tire, screws, nails, stuff off the road, any cuts, any separation, any obvious physical wounds in the tire. And you're also going to want to inspect the tread. Now, your tread's going to obviously wear over the course of a season, but that's a pretty good indication of how much tire is left. When the tread is gone, you don't have much meat left before you start hitting cord. And you also don't really have any tread left to separate water out from under that tire. Street tires with no tread on them are not race slicks. So if you take anything away from this, please take that away. So once that wheel and tire is off, you can also do a visual inspection inside the wheel well here. Much like under the hood, we're looking for fluid leaks. Take a look at your brake lines here. Anywhere you see rubber, make sure that rubber isn't swollen, isn't split, isn't leaking anywhere, and anywhere you see a connection, make sure there's no fluid seeping out of those connections. Also going to visually inspect our rotors and our pads. We can actually see the pads from the side here. We can see that there's, a good 12 or 13 millimeters of pad thickness left. That's plenty to get us through a few events, but it's something we want to start keeping an eye on as those pads will continue to wear. And if you can't see what's going on under there because you've got a lot of spewed fluid, grease or anything, great place to give it a squirt of CRC brake clean, get everything cleaned off so you can get a good visual inspection under there. Also, if you've got a lot of fluid spewing, that's coming from somewhere. Could be coming from a broken CV boot, could be coming from an axle that's starting to leak. So, red flags under here, fluids, bulges in rubber, and obviously damaged hardware like brake rotors are things you can do in a very quick visual inspection that will help keep you safe at an autocross. So we have the wheel back on, sort of roughly tightened with our impact gun. We'll properly torque it in just a second here, but before the car goes back on the ground, I want to do something that the tech inspector is sure to do, which is just give the wheel a little shake back and forth. That's going to tell you the condition of your bearings, it's going to tell you the condition of your hub, or at least give you a good indication of there possibly being a problem there if you start to get motion side to side. So let's get the car back on the ground, properly torque the wheel, and go to the autocross. If you enjoyed this content and all of our content on Grassroots Motorsports magazine, check us out on the web at grassrootsmotorsports.com. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will see you out at the track.
Support brands that support Grassroots Motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. Visit crcindustries.com to learn more.